So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Hello from London. It's so. Okay, it's not sunny, it's not cold, it's not warm. It's just one of those days where you don't really know. But it's Friday, and we're all happy because it's the end of the week, and we're happy. We have the weekend ahead of us. Yeah. Okay. So. What we're going to do today is a lesson specifically for those who are preparing IELTS or would like to prepare IELTS in the future, or they are preparing it now. IELTS is an exam that people do mainly for two reasons. Because they want to study at a university somewhere in the world where they require some kind of IELTS score, okay, which goes from 0 to 9. Okay, 9 is the kind of the top, the best mark, or because the company you want to work for or you are working for is sending you somewhere in an English-speaking country or to work in an English-speaking environment, and they want you to have a certain level of English. So they say, please do an IELTS test and come back with a 7 or a 7.5 or an 8. Okay, so you have to take this test. The IELTS test is a bit tricky. Parts of it are tricky, especially reading tasks. That's my opinion, and that's why I wanted to do this session on a reading task specifically. We will offer other sessions that will focus on other reading tasks, which are a bit tricky. Okay, so hence this session today. Good. So tips for IELTS reading tasks. And let me just go back to this. Yes. So by the end of the session, we will have learned about and practice how to find and identify information needed for one of the most common IELTS reading tasks, and that is the true, false, and not given. Okay, if you've been doing some IELTS exam, mock tests, past papers yourselves, you will find that you will always have a true, false, not given task in your IELTS reading part of the exam. So okay, so how do we, approach this task? So normally, for people who do not know what the IELTS test is like, okay, so it's divided into 4 parts. The first part you do is the listening, which is about half an hour. The second part you do is the reading, which is an hour. You have 1 hour, 60 minutes to read 3 texts and to answer 40 questions. That means to answer 40 questions and to transfer your answers to the answer sheet, okay? That means that you have about 17 minutes per text and relevant questions, okay? So you have to kind of approach one text and the tasks for that text within 17 minutes if you want to have enough time at the end to transfer the answers and to kind of look or check your answers, okay? So normally in the reading task, you are presented with a text, after which you have a set of tasks, okay? Now, my advice is to look at the tasks before you read the text, yeah? This is what you don't normally do, okay? So if you read something, it's because you want to read it, because you want to get information about that specific topic. So that's why you read a text message, that's why you read an article, that's why you read a letter. Okay, you want to know what it says. Now, in the IELTS exam, they don't really want you to get to understand the text, okay, to get the information from the text. They want you to answer the questions they give you, okay? That's why I say you need to read the tasks before you read the text. Otherwise, you don't have time, okay? So this will save you time. Look at the tasks first, okay? So in this case, for today, it will be the true, false, not given. True, false, not given. Why? Because this is the type of answer you have to give. Okay. So the type of task that will be given to you when it's a true, false, not given task will look like this. Okay. At the bottom of the task, you will have statements, meaning sentences. Okay. It's a statement. They don't ask a question. They just say something. They state something. For example, the first statement, children with good self-control are known to be likely to do well at school later on. Okay, that's a statement. What else can you find in that? Can you find in that task? You will find a question. So the very first thing is a question. The question is something like this: do the following statements, the ones that we've just looked at, agree with the information given in the reading passage one? In reading passage one. Okay, so that is the question that is asked in this task. Okay, now you don't have reading passage one yet. Don't worry. Okay. So we have questions, we have statements, and we have a description of possible answers. So for each statement, you have to say whether they are true, false, or the information is not given. It's not there in the text. Okay, so true, if the statement is true, the statement agrees with the information in the text. Okay, not with what you know about it. If it's false, it contradicts the information in the text. So no, it's not what it says here. It says the opposite. Okay. If it's not given, it means that there is no information on this, on the statement that you're reading. So it is very important that you understand that it is the text you have to compare the statement with, and not your background information. Why? Because background knowledge, let's say, because you might read a text about something that you know well. It might be a piece of machinery. It might be something to do with psychology. It might be with something to do with, I don't know, the latest technology used to do something. And you will right away go like, I know the answer to that. Of course it's true. Of course it's false. But that is because you're thinking about what you know already, okay? However, in the IELTS test, you just need to stick to the statements that are given to you and the text that is given to you. Forget about what you've studied before. Forget about your work experience, whatever, okay? So it's just the text and the statements. That's it, okay? Good. So please don't be like this little owl here saying, I know it all. I can answer the questions without looking at the text. No, don't do that. Okay, good. So let's practice a little bit, okay? Now, because it's a reading task that we're looking at today, it will take us a little bit longer than it normally takes us, okay? So the last two sessions lasted about 20-25 minutes. I think it's going to take a bit longer today, just so that you know, okay? So as we said, this is a task, okay? So your job is to understand if the statements in the task, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are true, false, or not given. And you have to compare these statements with reading passage 1, which I haven't given you yet. Okay, why haven't I given you the text? Because, okay, what do you do with the statements? Sorry, why haven't I given you the text? Because if you remember at the beginning, I said the first thing you have to do is to read the task. Okay, so we read the task first. So what are the questions? What's the question here? What do I have to do? This is what you have to do. Read the statements, okay? And then you can say true, false, not given. Once you've seen the statements and you go to the text. Okay, so what do I do with the statements? They're there, 5 statements. What do I do with them? you highlight or you underline the keywords in the statement. Yeah, because that is the information you want to find, you want to look for first, and then find in your text. So, we have a little picture of some colored plastic bricks over there, just at the bottom. You might recognize them. Some people might know what they are. Some people might not know what they are. Now, these colored plastic bricks are called Lego, L-E-G-O. Okay, it's a quite popular toy that is used in Europe and probably all around the world. I don't know. Okay, I have used it when I was little. My daughter uses it and she loves it. My sister used to love it, and I remember her falling asleep on a pile of Lego. Okay, but do we want this? Yes. So it's not important that you know what it is, but the reason I'm introducing this is because it is part of the text that we're going to read later. So it is, it's just to give you a tip. Okay, so there's Lego there. So first statement, okay, we said we have to underline the keywords. So children with good self-control are known to be likely to do well at school later on. So children with good self-control, so self-control important, do well at school. Okay, that's the statement. That's what the statement says. Number 2, the way a child plays, provide information, medical problems. Okay, so the statement says that if we look at a child playing, we might understand if in the future there'll be some medical problems. Number 3, playing with dolls was found to benefit girls' writing more than boys' writing. Okay, so playing with dolls is an important piece of information. And then the other important piece of information is the fact that it benefits girls' writing, according to the statement. So it means that girls who play with dolls write better than boys who play with dolls. That's the statement, okay? Number 4, children had problems thinking up ideas when they first created the story with Lego. Okay, so Lego is that toy that I've illustrated with a little picture at the bottom. Okay, and so it's referred to children playing with Lego and in the statement having problems being creative. And the last statement, people nowadays regard children's play as less significant than they did in the past. So keyword is nowadays. So the statement says now, okay, 2020-ish, compared to, I don't know, the 1990s. Children's play, so that's basically the main subject in this article, is less significant than it was in the past. Okay, so those are the key words that you will kind of look for in the text. Either those or something that is the opposite, maybe, or that has the same meaning. Where do I find the answers? Okay, so how do I know that these statements are true or false? Well, you have to look at the text, which I haven't given you yet. Yes, remember, because we have to look at the task first. Okay, so once you have the text in front of you, and I will give you the text in a minute, what you do, you have to quickly read each paragraph. Okay, so don't just start saying, okay, I'm going to read the article now. And if it's an interesting article, you just spend, 20 minutes reading it because it's interesting. It's like, wow, I didn't know this. Right, that's it. That's the problem. You can't, it's just, you're not just reading for pleasure. You're reading for to answer the questions for your test. So you quickly read each paragraph. How do you read the paragraph quickly? You read the first line and the last line of each paragraph. That will tell you what they're talking about. Okay, good. So you read the first line, the last line, you say, is it useful? No, it's not useful for some reason, because you decide it's not useful. So not useful, fine. So you go on to the next one quickly. Next paragraph, is that useful? Yes, good. So read it more in detail. Define the information in the statement and answer the question. Okay, so if you think that paragraph has the information that you're looking for, that you have underlined in the statement, then you have to spend a little bit more time reading that paragraph. So you read it all and you say, oh, yes, 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 yes. True, false, not given. Okay. Now the statements, remember the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statements are in the same order as the information in the text. So statement 1 will be kind of maybe at the beginning or halfway through the text, and then statement 2 will follow that, and statement 3 will follow that. Okay, so the information is not randomly given, but it follows the sequence of paragraphs in the text. So, and that is a good thing for you. It makes your job easier. Good. So I'm going to give you a look at the guy hiding behind his book, reading upside down. So that means he's not really reading properly. So we don't want to do that. Okay. So I'm going to give you, first of all, 3 of the statements we looked at the beginning, and some of the paragraphs of the text. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because there is not enough space on the page to give you all the statements and the whole text. Okay. I think it's important that we look at the paragraphs each one by one, so that we can look at why it is true, false, or not given. So we need space, so I'm kind of shortening things. Okay, so let's look at the first 3 statements. Okay, so number 1, children with good self-control are known to be likely to do well at school later on. Number 2, the way a child plays might provide information about possible medical problems. Number 3, playing with dolls was found to benefit girls writing more than boys writing. And here is the first paragraph of your text. So what do we do with the first paragraph? Do you remember? We read the first line and the last line to understand if it's useful or not. So first line. In a study carried out by Baker with toddlers and young preschoolers, she found that children with greater self-control, blah, 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 and then more successful problem solvers in the long run. Okay. Do we think this is related to probably to the first statement? Maybe. You say yes, because it mentions self-control, and we have self-control in statement 1. Okay, maybe. And then it says more successful problem solvers in the long run. Okay, and then in the first statement you have do well later on. It might be, but I think one of the important pieces of information in the first statement is do well at school. Okay, there is no mention of anything that has to do with academic progress in paragraph A. So I would leave it and go to the second one. Okay, so again, what do we do with this paragraph? Read it quickly. So first line, last line. If playful experiences do facilitate this aspect of development, say the researchers, it could be extremely significant, da, 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 da. And the last few words, be a key predictor of academic performance. Academic performance, school are related, okay? Okay, let's see if we can find something else to do with self-control. Where's that piece of information to do with self-control here? We don't have the same word, we don't have self-control, but we have something else. We have the ability to self-regulate, which is the same meaning, really, okay? So the ability to self-regulate is your self-control. And so the ability to self-regulate has been shown to be a key predictor of academic performance. That is statement number one. Children with good self-control are known to be likely to do well at school later on, right? So after all this, we can say that statement one is true. Yeah, because in the text, that is what it says. Good, so let's go on to statement two. So medical problems, okay? We look at a child playing, what about medical problems? Okay, so let's have a look at paragraph C and see if we can find that information there. So we'll read it quickly. So first line, Gibson adds, playful behavior is also an important indicator of healthy social and emotional development, blah, blah, blah. Can even be useful in the diagnosis of neurodevelopmental disorders like autism. Okay, so in statement two, we have medical problems, and in paragraph C, at the end, we have diagnosis of neurodevelopmental disorders like autism. So that could be something to do with medical problems. That's another way to describe a medical problem, okay? So that is the paragraph we need. Okay, where do we find provide information, the way a child plays, provide information? Okay, so let's read. I'll give you some time to read the paragraph yourself, okay? So you can find that information and then we'll check it together. Okay, so basically in paragraph C, line 2 and line 3 are paraphrasing statement 2, or the other way around. Statement 2 is paraphrasing line 2 and line 3 of this last paragraph, okay? So observing children at play, the way a child plays, okay, can give us important clues, may provide information about their well-being, and can even be useful in the diagnosis of disorders and so on. So possible medical problems. So paragraph 3 is what we need, and it says exactly what is in statement 2. So statement 2 is true. All right. Everything okay so far? Okay, this was probably quite easy, but what I wanted to show you as well is that you have paragraphs, but you don't necessarily need all the paragraphs, okay? So we didn't find any useful information in paragraph A and we left it quickly. But we found information in paragraph B and C. And the information in paragraph B and C answered questions for statement 1 and 2. Now we're left with statement 3 and 4 and 5 as well, okay? So we need to find information about this somewhere else. So these are the three statements that we still have to kind of understand whether they're true, false, or not given. And I'm going to give you more paragraphs from the article. First one is a bit long, okay? It's a bit long. It means there's a lot of information. There might be information that covers more than one statement or might be totally useless. Okay, so read it quickly. So first line, Whitebread's recent research has involved developing a play-based approach to supporting children's writing. Yes. And the last line, with the Lego building, however, not a single child said this, we don't know what this is, through the whole year of the project. So, do you think we need this paragraph or not? We might need it because from the very first line, we see the word writing. And in statement 3, we need information about writing. Okay, so we might need this paragraph. We have to read it a little bit more in detail. Okay, so I'll give you, again, a few seconds to read the paragraph, and then we'll look at what kind of information we have found and whether it's useful for us. Okay, so I think there's a lot of information there that can help us. Yeah, certainly with statement 3. So the paragraph, like halfway through in the paragraph, you see they talk about playing with dolls. Okay, which is in statement 3, and also we find something about, as I said, writing. Now, does the paragraph mention anything to do with benefiting girls writing more than boys writing? Does it give you any information about comparing, writing production from girls compared to writing production from boys? Does the paragraph, in the paragraph, do you find any distinction between what girls do and what boys do? Not really, okay? What the paragraph talks about is children playing with dolls, is children writing, but not the comparison between what girls do and what boys do, okay? So children in English is a word that kind of covers both boys and girls, okay? So there is no mention of this comparison. And therefore, number 3 is not given. There is no mention, there is no trace of this comparison in this paragraph, in this text. It's not given, okay? Do we need this paragraph for other statements? Do we need this paragraph for statement 4 maybe, or statement 5? Okay, now we go to, if we look at statement 4, children had problems thinking up ideas when they first created the story with Lego. Okay, so Lego is mentioned there. It's line 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 4, in the latest study, children first created their story with Lego. Okay, with similar results. So it is related to that, okay, and it is related to playing with Lego and, thinking up ideas to write a story, okay, or to tell a story, okay. Does it say that children had problems becoming, let's say, creative, or does it say the opposite? Yeah, so it says in the latest study, children first created their story with Lego with similar results, meaning similar referring to what is said in the previous line. Children wrote longer and better structured stories, so it's a positive thing. Yeah, so the fact that children played with Lego encourage them to be more creative. That's what it means. So statement 4, saying children had problems thinking up ideas after playing with Lego. Is it true, false, or not given? It's false. Okay, so the information is there, but it's exactly the opposite of what is said in the statement. Now, what about statement 5? People nowadays regard children's play as less significant than they did in the past. Do we have any information in this paragraph that is connected to that statement? Not really. So maybe we should read something else. Okay, so that's another paragraph. I'll give you a few seconds to read it. Okay, so do you think we have any information like in statement 5? I think you might be sidetracked here because the last line says now. Now the landscape is very different. And in statement 5, you have nowadays. Okay. So you say, oh, yes, that's the paragraph I need. Not really. I mean, that's the only link, really. There is no comparison to do with children's play being less significant than it was in the past. There is some kind of comparison. Yes, it says that in the 70s, so the second line of paragraph E, in the 70s, the teaching of young children was largely a quiet backwater. So nobody really talked about it, okay? But it doesn't really say that it was more or less significant. So the information is not there. Let's have a look at another paragraph, maybe. Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to read it and see if it's important for our quest to, find the answer. Okay, so I've given you a bit too much time, I think. But anyway, so what we find in paragraph F, which is actually the last paragraph of the text. So the information we need must be there by a process of elimination. What we find there is that yes, we find an answer to statement 5. So people nowadays is in the first line. So somehow the importance of play has been lost in recent decades. So nowadays, recent decades, so something that's been happening, okay, up to now. So if you continue reading the first line, it's regarded as something trivial. Okay, what's the meaning of trivial? Trivial is something unimportant, something superficial. Okay, what's another word for important? Another word for important is significant. Okay, and do we find the word significant in statement 5? Yes, we do. Okay, and it says less significant, and trivial means less significant. Okay, so people nowadays regard children's play as less significant than they did in the past. And the answer is there. Yes, it's true. Somehow the importance of play has been lost in recent decades. It's regarded as something trivial or even as something negative to contribute work. But the answer for statement 5 is in the first line of paragraph F. So statement 5 is true. All right. Good. How did you get on with this? I hope it was okay for you. For some people, it might be quite easy. For some people, it might be difficult because you're starting and you've never seen this before. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It's just a question of practicing. Okay? It's just a question of practicing. Anyway, so this is the end for today for this type of task. It's actually the end of our 3 free sessions online. We are going to have these free sessions and some others streaming on YouTube soon. You can also find them on Facebook, or we'll be able to find them soon on Facebook. And yeah, okay, so you can access them. You can kind of look at the material again and again, especially for this one, and especially for people who are kind of starting to prepare IELTS, and they're kind of struggling, or because you just want to have to hear the kind of the explanation again. Now we'll be in touch. Okay, so expect an email from us, kind of giving you some information about what happens next. The important thing we want from you is feedback. Okay, feedback is very important. It's very important, or it's always very important. Okay, always, not just for work or for school. It's important. If you take your friend somewhere and you say, "Oh, let's go to this fancy place," and then you're all excited and you go with your friend, and your friend says nothing about it. They do what they're meant to do, but they say nothing about it. And you just go like, "Okay, did she like it or not? I would like to have some feedback. Okay, I would like to know if this is a type of thing that she likes doing or not, because maybe next time we won't do it this way, we do it another way, or we won't go here, we'll go somewhere." Okay, so the same goes with your feedback. We want to know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and about anything. Okay, so the person that kind of presented this, the speed, the pace of the lessons, the content of the lessons, the way it was presented. We also want to know about what you need. How can we help you? What can we provide that can make your life easier in terms of English language learning? Okay, and so on. Okay, so it's very important that you give us feedback, and we will send you some kind of feedback form to fill in. It won't be too long, and that you can send back in some way. Okay, I'm not very technical, so I don't know how it happens, but how it works. Good. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Very, very, very last thing I want to tell you, if you're in London, remember that it's Friday, it's pub night tonight, and pub night means free speaking practice. Okay, so if you want to join us, please come here at 5 o'clock. Rose of York Language School, we're on Oxford Street, very, very busy. It's very busy also because they're about to turn on the lights, the Christmas lights, okay, over here. So it's going to be really, really busy. And how to find us, we are very close to Dr. Uncle Road tube station, which is on the Northern Line and the Central Line, so the black line and the red line. And we are above a shoe shop called Echo. Okay, good. Well, the last thing I want to say is, again, thank you very much for joining us. Please contact us if you have any questions. If you need anything, please let us know. We're here to help you, okay, or to encourage you, or to push you to do better and to flourish. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to unmute you. So if you want to kind of ask me questions, please do. We've got another kind of 5 minutes if you want to. If you want to type a message, please do. And I can see it, so I can answer your questions. Okay, it could be related to what we did today, so it could be related to IELTS, and specifically reading tasks, and specifically true, false, not given. It could be related to anything else. Please let me know. Okay, so I'll just wait here for a couple of minutes. So if you have anything, please let me know. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Okay, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, day, and have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.